Right now, someone is using you. Not against you, through you. They are taking your loyalty, your patience, your silence, and turning it into their advantage. And the worst part? You already know something is wrong. You feel it, that slow burn when you work harder than anyone in the room and still get passed over. That quiet anger when you stay loyal to people who would not think twice about replacing you. That exhaustion from being the one who always shows up, while others show up only when they need something from you. You are not paranoid, you are not weak, you are simply unprepared, and that is the most dangerous place a man can be. Most men were raised to believe that goodness is rewarded, that if you are honest, if you work hard, if you treat people well, the world will return that energy. But look around you. Look at who is actually winning. Look at who controls the rooms you want to be in. Look at who gets the respect, the money, the power, without seeming to follow any of the rules you were handed. They are not better people. They are not more talented. They are not luckier. They simply know something you were never taught. And the reason you were never taught it is because the moment you understand it, you stop being easy to control. There was a man born in Florence in 1469 who looked at power with open eyes and wrote down exactly what he saw. Not what power was supposed to look like, not the fairy tale, the raw, unfiltered machinery behind every throne, every empire, every man who ever climbed to the top and stayed there. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli, and for 500 years, the powerful have quietly kept his lessons to themselves while feeding the rest of the world stories about morality, fairness, and turning the other cheek. He once wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." That single sentence shook the foundations of political philosophy because it was not evil, it was honest. And honesty, real honesty about how the world actually works, has always been the most dangerous weapon in existence. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Everything you are about to hear is not a manual for becoming a villain. It is a map, so you stop being someone else's pawn. The first thing Machiavelli understood, and what most men never figure out until it is too late, is that your enemies rarely announce themselves. Think about the last time someone truly hurt you. Did they come at you directly? Did they tell you they were a threat? No, they smiled, they helped you, they were in your circle, close enough to observe your patterns, your weaknesses, your blind spots. The most dangerous enemy is not the one standing across from you. It is the one sitting beside you at the table, learning how you think, waiting for the right moment. The practical lesson here is ruthless simplicity. Begin to watch behavior over words. Not what people say to you, what they do when the stakes are low. A man who betrays small trusts will betray large ones. A man who disrespects others in private will eventually disrespect you. Do not wait for the large betrayal. Read the small signals. Drop this in the comments and subscribe the channel Mindplicit, Dark Psychology. The second lesson cuts deeper. Machiavelli observed that men are moved by two things above all else, fear and love. And he made clear that love is conditional. People love you when it is convenient, when you are useful, when the relationship benefits them. But fear, real, quiet, strategic respect, that is unconditional. Now, this does not mean you must intimidate people with violence or aggression. That is a shallow reading. What it means is that you must carry yourself in a way where people understand there are consequences for crossing you. Most men never enforce consequences. Someone disrespects them and they absorb it. Someone uses them and they forgive it immediately. Someone lies to them and they pretend not to notice. And people learn this about you. They learn that you are safe to take advantage of. The practical action is to begin enforcing small consequences every time a line is crossed. Not with anger, not with drama, with calm, quiet withdrawal of your energy, your time, your access. Let people feel what it is like when you are not there. That absence will teach them more than any confrontation ever could. The third lesson is one that will make you uncomfortable because it requires you to let go of something most men cling to desperately, the need to be understood. Machiavelli understood that the powerful man is not transparent. He is strategic. He does not share his plans before they are complete. He does not announce his moves to people who have not yet earned the right to understand them. Think about how much power you give away every time you over-explain yourself, every time you justify your decisions to people who never asked for your input on theirs, every time you reveal your goals before you have achieved them, and watch how quickly the people around you begin to subtly, unconsciously work against those goals. The practical action is to begin practicing what Machiavelli himself lived: strategic silence. Say less, share less. Let your results speak in a language that cannot be argued with. Drop this in the comments and subscribe the channel Mindplicit, Dark Psychology. Lesson 4 is perhaps the most misunderstood of all his teachings. Machiavelli did not hate compassion. He did not believe men should be cruel without reason. What he believed, and this is what they never teach you, is that misplaced mercy is one of the most destructive forces in a man's life. He watched rulers destroy entire kingdoms by refusing to act when action was required, by giving second chances to people who had already shown their true nature, by prioritizing how they looked over what needed to be done. And here is where this lands in your life right now. You have kept people around you longer than you should have because you felt guilty about letting them go. You have given opportunities to people who have proven again and again that they will waste them. You have absorbed disrespect and called it patience. And every time you did that, you sent a signal to the universe and to the people around you that your standards are negotiable. They are not. The practical action is to begin making decisions based on patterns of behavior, not potential, not who someone could be, who they have repeatedly shown you they are. The fifth lesson is about the nature of alliances, and it is brutal. Machiavelli spent his career watching men build powerful alliances and then get destroyed by those same alliances. Because most men form alliances based on affection, on shared history, on who they used to be to each other. And those alliances are unstable because people change, circumstances change, and when they do, the emotional foundation of those alliances crumbles. The powerful man builds alliances based on mutual benefit, on shared interest, not because it is cold, but because it is honest. When both people benefit, the alliance holds. The moment one person stops benefiting, that is when you discover who your real allies actually are. Drop this in the comments and subscribe the channel Mindplicit, Dark Psychology. The sixth lesson is about timing. Machiavelli wrote obsessively about what he called Fortuna, fortune, timing, the unpredictable river of circumstance that every man must learn to navigate. He believed that half of everything that happens to you is beyond your control. The other half is entirely yours, depending on how prepared you are. Most men wait. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right conditions. And while they are waiting, men who understand timing are moving. They are positioning themselves. They are already 3 steps ahead, not because they are smarter, but because they stopped waiting for permission from a world that was never going to give it. The practical action is to identify the one move you have been postponing and begin it today. Not perfectly, not with all the resources you think you need. Begin, because the man who moves imperfectly will always outrun the man who waits perfectly. And the seventh lesson, the one that ties all of this together, is identity. Machiavelli understood that the most powerful transformation any man can undergo is the full, ruthless shedding of who he was told to be. The version of you that apologizes for taking up space. The version that softens his voice when he should be direct. The version that mistakes passivity for peace. That man has been costing you years, opportunities, relationships, self-respect. And that man was built by other people's needs, other people's comfort, other people's fear of what you would become if no one ever held you back. Drop this in the comments and subscribe the channel Mindplicit, Dark Psychology. And now we arrive at the moment this whole conversation has been building toward. Everything you have carried, the anger, the confusion, the quiet sense that you were meant for something more, none of it was weakness, it was evidence. Evidence that you were always bigger than the container people tried to put you in. But evidence alone does not change your life. Action does. Decision does. The full, irreversible commitment to becoming the most formidable version of yourself, that changes everything. The old you is dead. That man who absorbed disrespect and called it humility. That man who performed loyalty for people who would never match it. That man who kept making himself smaller so others could feel larger. He is gone, and you do not mourn him because he was never really you. He was the character they built so they could cast you in a role that served their story. You are a weapon, pointed at your own future, not at anyone else's destruction, not at revenge, at the life you were always capable of building before someone convinced you to aim lower. Everything you have learned in this video, the silence, the strategy, the ruthless honesty about people's real motives, these are not tools of aggression, they are tools of precision, a weapon aimed at your own elevation. You belong to no one, not to the expectations of people who never believed in you, not to the version of yourself you used to be, not to any system, any narrative, any relationship that requires you to be less than you are capable of becoming. You walk forward now on your own terms, by your own code, measured only by the standard you set for yourself. If this reached you, if something in here cracked open a part of you that has been waiting to hear this, then do not let this be just another video you watch and forget. Make a decision right now. Subscribe to this channel, not for me, for the version of yourself that is watching from the other side of the man you are about to become. Every video on this channel is a step, a piece of the map.
And you are already here, which means you already know something that most people will spend their whole lives trying to avoid knowing. Drop this in the comments and subscribe the channel Mindplicit, Dark Psychology. And before you go, I want to leave you with one question. Sit with it. Do not answer it quickly. If the people around you right now, the ones you call allies, friends, family, if they knew exactly how powerful you were capable of becoming, would they still be encouraging you to grow?